I enjoy the process of what goes on. Most of the stuff that we sell, I'm excited about myself, especially if it's something particularly nice when someone comes to pick it up and they're obviously excited. That makes the whole process better than me. You know, you hand someone over just a normal Ford Focus that they just have to have. They're like, yeah, that'll do. But, you know, you get someone that comes to pick something nice up and they're like, it's the dream car. It's like, wow. And I just love that energy that you get from people when you do that, you know, and you spend a lot of time at work. So I think you've got to enjoy it as such as well. We're probably a little bit unique in business as well, because we don't just do cars, we do bikes. They're just different in terms of like selling them. You generally get less warranty claims because there's less that go wrong with them. There's obviously less moving parts. They take up very little space. You know, you can put 6 or 7 bikes in one car space. And I think also the customers that you get from bikes, they're all enthusiasts. I do all the buying and all the selling. We don't have any salespeople. So people that deal with me, they only ever get me. I sort of pride myself on that personal approach, and, you know, that's how we sort of operate.
Hello, fellow motor traders. Whether you're on the pitch or on the road or hiding from a customer, welcome back to DealerPod, the podcast built by real-life dealers for other real-life car dealers. Each week, we sit down with some of the biggest names in the UK motor trade, from industry veterans to the new disruptors, to find out exactly what's working right now, what's changing, and how you can use those insights to grow your own dealership. My name's Stephen Douglas, alongside Scott Sibley and Martin Carr. Today's podcast is a huge one. This week's show is proudly sponsored by Dealerway, the UK's fastest growing dealer-to-dealer platform, connecting trusted traders all over the country. Before we get started, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'll drop new ones each week, and if you do that, it helps us grow and put these episodes out each week. All right, let's get straight into it. This is This Week in the Motor Trade.
This Week in the Motor Trade, brought to you by AutoGrab.
This Week in the Motor Trade, sponsored by our partners AutoGrab. I've personally been using AutoGrab, as you know, myself over the past 6 months. It's helped me buy stock direct from the general public, from private listings that I probably otherwise would have missed. It's all in one user interface, and it's been a bit of a game changer for myself and car buying habits, if I'm honest. I think, Scott, you've bought a couple of cars off it this week as well, haven't you?
I think we bought a Fiesta and we bought I think it might have been a Tiguan.
Local at the door as well.
Yeah, just private people. The lads go through it, and they set they've got like their own little process what they do, but they're getting the hang of it. They weren't so sure at first because it was like a new platform, what you have to get used to. But once they start using it, they enjoy it. Yeah,
good stuff. Yeah, I've actually I think I've only bought one off it this week, but I'm normally getting a couple a week now at the minute. So
yeah, but
yeah, it's really good. So make sure you check that out. If you'd like to know more, then make sure to check out the YouTube description below and click through the website. And if you sign up using that link, mention DealerPod, and you get a huge 25% off your first 3 month subscription. So this week in the motor trade, what's been happening, boys? Scott, we went down to AM Live, didn't we?
Yes.
How did you find it?
The journey down, or just the AM Live itself?
Well, let's start there then. We'll start with the journey down, will we?
Freaking hell.
Oh, what? Yeah, come on, start at the beginning.
Pod's only on for an hour, you know.
Yeah. So we had the sat-nav on in the car, but it wasn't voice sat-nav because Stephen was doing like the DJ tunes and playing all the music on the way down, so we missed 2 junctions.
No. You've gone too far there, Scott. Stephen outside lane 50 mile an hour.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
To the point where you had to take over the drive.
No. Right. Yeah. I'll tell you what, you two shut up and I'll tell everyone what really happened. Right. So I drove 30 minutes out my way to pick all yous up. Right, and to go through the time tunnel, and I said we shouldn't go through the time tunnel because it's a nightmare. We should go through down the A1, and obviously I was right because we ended up stuck in traffic anyway. I started driving, and I got stuck in traffic, evidently on the A1 after you've come off the A19, but so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. And then we got to Weatherby services, and then everything was plain sailing up to that point, and then Scott took over the driving. Obviously, Scott can't handle 2 things at once, so he asked me to be navigator. This was after he missed 2 junctions, so a 3.5 hour journey took with 5 hours.
But it was scenic though.
It was,
yeah. Very scenic, yeah.
Newcastle to Birmingham via Kings Lynn.
And you liked all the music that was being played, didn't you?
Yeah, I was liking the music.
Bit of Craig David on the way down.
Yeah, but what I did say as well, when we're 5 hours into the journey, I says, you'll be thanking me when we get to the event, because sometimes a full day at one of those type of events is probably too much.
It was hard. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was good to meet people and that. And it's the first sort of thing like that I've ever been to. But it was hard, like especially when you've been in the car for that length of time. You're just on your feet all day, weren't we?
Well, you're on your feet all day and then talking to people. And I was saying it reminded me of like when you used to go to the auctions and you stand there for like 4 and 5 hours on your feet, which normally where obviously I do everything online now, so I'm on my arse. So I don't really do much on my feet as such.
And nowhere for a beer.
What about the business cards, Stephen? Remember what happened with that?
Should we really be mentioning that on here? Right, well, hold our hands up. We went past somebody's desk who has, let's say they've got a competing product or they're trying to launch a competing product the Dealerway. And as a bit of fun, you know, and please don't take this the wrong way if you're watching. It was just a bit of a joke and carry on. But they had left their desk unmanned and they had their business card, like a selection of business cards out. And I think there was only about 10 to 15. So Martin.
No.
Martin.
No.
Oh, okay, right.
It was the Grey Badger.
It was me, aye. So I got some of our business cards, took all of their business cards and replaced them with ours, and I just thought that was a bit funny. Obviously, they knew who'd done it, but it was just a bit of a joke and carry on. But you're watching.
Apologies.
It was us. It was just a bit of crack. But yeah, so that was funny. And I met, obviously, Jamie Cable, who obviously you guys all know, I've got a strong affection for.
Love.
He's well given us
love for.
love.
Yeah, those is not affection, it's love.
Photo will go up on the screen now.
Didn't Stephen write something in the after his shower?
He had the hot shower and he put a big love heart in the mirror. And then
No, you've done that.
Stephen
You've done that.
loves Jamie with a big like cross through it.
Yeah, I think it was the if destroyed still true.
Well, I'd said that, but Scott wrote that after I'd got in the shower and I seen it on the mirror.
And then we met some nice people at the event. People who haven't seen for a while. Bumped into Ollie from Click Dealer.
Shout out Ollie.
IMD boys.
Well, actually, I seen Umesh and I seen Stuart Saunders, and I went to go and speak to them, and they were busy, and someone else pulled us, and I never actually got back round to seeing them later. So,
oh no, I seen them on the way out.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I seen them on the way out. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see him. I was a bit disappointed I didn't get to meet them, but never mind.
And the lads from CarWow, they're going to be coming on the podcast, and so's I think Shane's wanting to come on from MotorCheck for his new product.
Some good things in the motor trade, to be fair, when you had a wander around. So much AI.
Well, that's what hit me. Every other stand seemed to be like an AI product for the motor trade. I'm not sure. I mean, we didn't get a demo of them all, obviously, but they were all trying to do similar things. And a few conversations I had with them, with most of them, they weren't really sure themselves that it was all working correctly. That's the vibe I got. It's like, oh, well, that's coming. It doesn't do that yet, but it's going to do that. But there was one, and I'll give him a bit of plug. Was it Gerard at Motor Tech AI who bumped into?
Yeah, Gerard Thatcher.
Yeah, he was a really nice guy, seemed very switched on. His impressed us a little bit. What he told us about it anyway, obviously we yet to see it, but that did look good, that. So I think we're going to get Gerard on the pod as well and talk about that, aren't we?
I've done a demo of that his before, and it was good. It was impressive.
Oh, well, good.
Because it scrapes all your advert and it gets all the information about the car, so when you're asking the questions, it's already there. And
they're all females. The AIs are all named after
all had different names than the LR and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But to be fair, as Jared said, he has Bill. I'm just going to ask Bill a question.
You don't. It doesn't have the same effect, does it?
And then on the night time, we met the team from
Motor Desk.
Nice guys, yeah.
Lovely.
I'd never came across them before.
Yeah, shout out Nick and the boys for taking us out.
Yeah, took out for a nice meal, didn't they? And we're going to do an integration. Anyone who's using Motor Desk, we're going to do an integration with them. So if you've got your stock live on their DMS, you'll be able to click a button and put your car straight on the Dealerway if you want to get out of it into the trade. And off the back of that, we obviously met with a few of the DMS providers at AM Live, and I think they're going to do they're going to do the same. So
Dragon's on board. They're definitely going to.
Yeah, shout out Dragon, Dealer Kit.
Yeah,
and then Click Dealer as well.
Which is all positive in it. So if we manage to get all them on board and make it so seamlessly easy to get your cars advertised, one click of a button, like the same way you are going to list a car on AutoTrader from your DMS on the Dealerway, where it's only going to make it more frictionless for the dealers and be easier, and hopefully get a few more cars listed on the platform as well. So
be handy for overage stock, wouldn't it? You just, when all your pictures are there and your pictures are great, and you just put on it's overage, and that's why you're moving it on.
Yeah, good. So that's all to come.
Mm-hmm.
In today's competitive used car market, staying ahead means finding the right stock at the right price every time. I use AutoGrab to do exactly that. With endless listings and constant market shifts, it's tough to know what's worth chasing, but AutoGrab cuts through the noise. Their platform shows me where the value is, lets me filter for high margin stock, and alerts me when the right cars hit the market. If you want better margins and smarter sourcing, head to autograb.co.uk today. Make sure you mention DealerPod when signing up to get 25% off your first 3-month subscription. So today's guest is the owner of Automotive Cars based in West Yorkshire. I'm delighted to welcome the podcast, Mr. Graham Cox. Hi Graham, mate. How's it going? You okay?
Yeah, not so bad, guys. Yourself?
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Graham. Thanks for asking. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
We did try this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? We had some technical issues, so
finally got that.
Again this month, but I think we've got there in the end. Yeah. So Graham, can you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, your background in the motor trade?
Yeah, so I mean, we're obviously a car dealer based in West Yorkshire, as you say. Set up from premises really in 2009. So I did a couple of years just selling cars from my driveway, basically at home. I had another job, so I'm an engineer by trade. So when I left school, that's what I went and did. I did an apprenticeship. My dad was an engineer. My granddad was an engineer. So it was sort of a bit like a rite of passage. Finished school, didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I sort of got pushed that way a little bit. So I went and did that. I mean, to be fair, it has sort of helped in a lot of things that I've done in cars. When I sort of first started, obviously didn't have a lot of money. Just started off with one car. So 2007, a bit of a gym goer. Met a young lad in the gym. Just happened to be walking out with him, and he had a brand new Audi R8, and I was just like, "What do you do?" He said, "Oh, I sell cars." I was like, "I'd love to do that," and that was it. That's just sort of how it started. So I took my wage one month, bought a Citroen Saxo BTR. I think it was the first car I ever bought.
Oh, remember them? I love them. They were great.
They fetch good money now, though. I think I paid 1,500 quid for it back then. Sort of made 500 quid, and then I bought a $2,000 car, and made 500 quid, and then it sort of grew. The actual process at the time, I think it was, once I get to 10 grand, I'm going to use it as a deposit on a house. But I just enjoyed it that much. I just carried on. I mean, I'm self-confessed petrol head, so for me, this is sort of a bit of a lifestyle business to some degree. You know, if you love cars, it's given me the opportunity to have so many different cars. When I first started, it was, I always wanted to have a Subaru, I always wanted to have an Evo, that sort of thing, and I sort of worked through them. Then 2 years later, got made redundant, couldn't really find anything else to do. Where we used to work, I used to go to like the local supermarket and used to drive past a little industrial unit. They always had a big sign up saying units to let, and I rang them, took a little unit on, outgrew that. So within a year, moved into a bigger premises. We're still based in the same sort of section of units, but where we are, there's quite a number of units, and as people have left, we've then taken on further units. So we're actually split out over 4 units as such where we are now.
Right.
So we have a main showroom unit, and then we have our own workshop, which we predominantly use just for ourselves. So it's only a small workshop. We do odds and sods. So some of the surrounding businesses will service their vans and friends and family and stuff, but predominantly it's for ourselves. And then we've got 2 other units which we use as storage and sort of a prep facility. So we're a fairly small business. There's only 4 of us here. So there's me, a mechanic, and then two valeters as such.
That's unique. Like, I don't know many people who are on the same industrial estate who've got 4 units who run the one business from like 4 separate units. That must be, is it not challenging a little bit, that? I bet you prefer them all next to each other.
Well, they are separate units, but they're only like one's next door but one, and then we've got the one next door to that, and then next to that. So I mean, all the units are within 50 yards. Right. So they're all together, but they're just within. They are separate units as such. But it works really well because you don't really want your workshop in your showroom. I mean, when I first started, I did do bits of prep in the showroom because that's what I had to do, and I did when I first started. I mean, I do, and still now, I enjoy the process, so I enjoyed buying the car. I enjoyed, getting the wheels done and, machine polishing it myself and all that sort of thing. And I did everything from start to finish, and then obviously handing it on to an end consumer. obviously as we got bigger, that sort of disappeared a little bit. We have changed a little bit over sort of the last 5 or 6 years, really. We got a bit bigger, and I just didn't enjoy it as much. So we've actually slimmed back down again. Because I became a bit more of a manager, and so I wasn't as involved, if that makes sense. You know, I'm just sort of moving people around, and I enjoy the process of what goes on. Most of the stuff that we sell, I generally buy stuff that I'm excited about myself. So, you know, we come to sell them to other people. I enjoy, especially it's something particularly nice when someone comes to pick it up and they're obviously excited. You know, that makes the whole process better than me. You know, you hand someone over just a normal Ford Focus that they just have to have. It doesn't have that same, they're like, yeah, that'll do. But, you know, you get someone that comes pick something nice up and they're like, you know, it's the dream car. It's like, wow, you know, and I just love that energy that you get from people when you do that, you know. And so for me, it's, you know, I mean, everyone does business different ways, do you know what I mean? But, you know, you spend a lot of time at work. So I think you've got to enjoy it as such as well.
Without doubt, yeah.
We're probably a little bit unique in business as well, because we don't just do cars here. So we do bikes as well. And again, we did that on a big scale. Something that I just wanted to try. So I did my bike test 10 or 15 years ago, and I was into bikes. So I sort of did the same thing. Bought a bike, put it up for sale. If someone bought it, then I'd just go and buy another one, made a bit of margin out of it. I rode around on it in the meantime. But it just gave me the opportunity to try loads of different bikes. And, you know, I've tried so many bikes. I did sell some of the business a few years ago to someone else who came from a bike background with the idea that we do cars and bikes. So we did have about 50 bikes at one stage. And they're just different. So in terms of like selling them, you generally get like less warranty claims because there's less that go wrong with them. There's obviously less moving parts. Generally, bikes are very low mileage. And, you know, if you've got a 10,000 mile bike, that's almost that are getting high mileage, you know. They're usually very low. They take up very little space. You know, you can put 6 or 7 bikes in one car space.
Well, I was going to say that's got to be a good thing, like the space.
Yeah. So, you know, it saves you that. The advertising costs, I mean, you probably don't realise, but if you advertise bikes on AutoTrader, it's pence. It's ridiculous in comparison.
Really?
Yeah. So we've got a bike package, because we don't do many bikes now, but for 10 bikes, it's like 150 quid.
Are they doing Deal Builder on the bikes?
I don't know. Well, to be honest, I've not got Deal Builder yet. So it's not been added to our site. Now it wasn't actually AutoTrader's Deal Builder because we always declined it, because prior to Deal Builder, we actually, there was a company called Keyloop that started one, and it was almost the same thing where people could come onto your website. It'd automatically, you could either have it like as a percentage of CAT or percentage of AutoTrader trade. It'd add all that in. They could do all the finance things. But it just never really worked for me from day one. There was too many things where customers didn't really know, and they needed that interaction of, well, do I want this? And, you know, and obviously for the part price, I know everyone's obviously got their issues with Deal Builder. Whether it ends up staying, I don't know, because like I said at the minute, I don't have it. So I've not really even seen exactly how it interacts, but I know a lot of people have got the reservations about it. But I suppose I'll see once it comes on.
Can I ask, Graham, you know, with the so where you've got your cars on AutoTrader and you've got like your price checker, you know, and it gives you evaluations and so on, does it do the same with bikes?
No, none of that's on. I mean, to be honest, I don't think they seem to put the same amount of effort into the bike section as they do in the cars. That sort of it's a bit more of a simpler site, really. So we don't see any of that.
So what competitor sites would be for the bikes then? If like proper bike enthusiasts, would they go to AutoTrader or Bike Trader as their number one, or is there other ones?
I think with bikes, a lot of people do use eBay, but obviously we've got like an eBay Motors package for the cars, but you can put either or on anywhere. So we can put cars, bikes, and vans all on eBay anywhere, which we do, and that all encompasses within our package. So that's just a slot for a bike or a car. It doesn't seem to make a difference. So you can have 30 cars or 30 bikes on.
And do you offer finance and warranties on the bikes the same as cars, or just?
Yeah. So we've got finance companies that still do both for us. So our main provider's Motonobo, so they do bikes as well. So that's never really been an issue.
They're quite into bikes then. They must be one of the bigger lenders, I think.
Yeah, and like I say, in terms of warranty and stuff, I mean, that's the other thing with bikes. You just generally don't get that many warranty claims. I mean, for a lot of people, they don't use the bikes for 6 months of the year anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and the average mileage of a sports bike is 1,000 miles a year. And like I say, then coupled with a lot less It's not a, well, I need a bike. Maybe in London, maybe, do you know what I mean, where they're zipping around on scooters and stuff. But
Most are fair weather bikers, aren't they?
Yeah, most people are, even if you're into touring and stuff. I mean, touring bikes are a little bit more, they'll extend their season a little bit more. But I mean, sports bikes have always been my main love. So I predominantly bought sports bikes, but we have had bits of all sorts. And like I say, throughout the years, I've had this opportunity to own and use a lot of these bikes. And, there's so many bikes that I've had and had the joy of doing. And like I said, same with cars, and sometimes I think you forget, and I look back at some cars that I've had that, oddball stuff like, we had, and to be fair, probably a bit of hindsight, I wish I'd kept hold of them, but stuff like Clio V6s and stuff like that, we've had, they only made 500, but we sold 4 of them. But, we were buying them for like 6 or 7 grand, some years ago, and now they're 50.
Big money now.
Mad, isn't it? Mad for a Renault Clio.
Mint car though.
Oh, I know that, but it's just
Mint
a
car.
Renault Clio for 50 grand.
Yeah, but of all the cars that I've ever owned, Clio V6 is probably the car that's had the most attention, either from people that knew what they were and were like, that's really cool, you never see these, or people that didn't know what they were, and you'd come out of the gym, put your gym bag in the front, and they're like, oh, what's up with your car? I'm like, nothing, that's just the boot. They're like, well, where's the engine? I was like, it's in the back. And then you'd have to open the boot to show them that the engine was in, and then they'd be like, oh, but it's really fast. And I said, well, actually, they weren't really. They were an amazing car to drive. They looked really cool.
Oh, the 255.
255, but they were quite heavy, so they weren't really much quicker than like what a 182 was of the same sort of era and time.
I took a Subaru P1 in against one of them.
Yeah,
against a brand spanking new Clio. It sat in the showroom for a year, and we made something like £8 profit on it. So for like 28 grand or something like that. But we took a Subaru P1 in part exchange.
Yeah, big money now as well, aren't they?
Yeah. But I think with them sort of things, the really low mileage, low ownership ones are the ones that are really commanding a lot of money. So we do bits of stuff like that with bikes. Like we just bought like a 2000 Fireblade, which is a one owner from new, and it's done 2,000 miles. But we'll be asking more money than that bike was when it was brand new. But them really low mileage ones, it's find another one. So we do some. It's, to be honest, Harley Davidsons are not really my expertise or something that I particularly get excited about. So we don't do a lot of them. But we have had one in recently, which we took as Part X for a car, which is, we do get a lot of that, and we've just taken another one. We're taking an M1000 RR in as against a car. So so it does work for some people, especially if I don't know. A lot of time people buy bikes, think it's a great idea. A lot of people hold on to them for a long time, so they'll stay off the road sometimes for 5 years, where people are then either have kids or whatever, and just don't have time, think they're going to do it, and then I think the missus has sort of kept nudging, and after 5 years, it's like, we could have a new kitchen, and you've got a 10 grand bike sat in the garage, it's just doing nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the good thing about bikes is generally they don't lose a lot of money, because the prices of bikes have risen so much. So, I mean, like I said, that Fireblade that we've got I've got the invoice for when it was new, and it was like 6.5 grand, brand new. But that equivalent Fireblade now is 20 grand.
Really?
Yeah.
Mad how expensive they are now.
It's interesting listening to you talk about bikes there, because everything you're saying is like tick, tick, tick against the car, isn't it? Like they're easier to store, that you get more money for them, they don't go wrong. Like, it sounds mint.
Everything is better, I think, with selling bikes. The two main downsides is, one, it's very seasonal. So you'll be very, very busy through summer, and then less so in winter. And then sometimes you can obviously buy some big bikes at September, and sometimes you can sit on them till the season starts again in February, March, and it can be a long time then to sit on something, especially if it's a fair chunk of your cash. So generally we'll do quite a bit through summer, but then as it gets towards August, I'm probably a bit like, not really bothered. We'll take one in Part X, if it means a deal, if we want to get a deal, but I sort of stopped going out to buy them as such. And the other side is that the margins are generally smaller on bikes. So, but then obviously it costs her a lot less, but you still obviously need to sell a fair few. But every dealer's different in terms of how they see their business going. For me personally, I'd go for quality over volume every time. I say my inspiration, but I think one of the greatest dealers in the UK who's obviously doing massively well for himself is Tom Hartley Jr. And he actually sells very, very few cars, like between about 70, 80 cars a year. That's all he sells, you know. So and he's making 10 million net.
Aye, but it helps that he's got 5 million in each deal, like, doesn't it?
He got Bernie Eccleston's collection, didn't he?
Aye.
Of course, yeah. Well, I think I'd read something the other day where I think this past year, because he'd done that, his profit was ridiculous, like 50 million or something like that. His net profit. I mean, he's building an incredible showroom, and he's selling some incredible one-off, unique cars, you know. But I'm not necessarily mean that, you know, he's probably, you know, the real high end. But I think, you know, for me, actually just pushing towards getting better margins, you know, and every business grows. You know, I'm a bit like, we sort of sit with 30, 35 cars, and rather than go, I want to do 45 or 50, it's a bit like, if I'm making X margin, how can I make, you know, another 20% margin? And all of a sudden you're making 20% more money for doing the same job. And that's sort of, in my opinion, you know, how we want to push forward as a business. It's not always easy, because I think different car values seem to have their own traits. You know, to some people, you can buy a $2,500 car and you can double your money, and that's great. For me, as we've sort of evolved as well, the other thing that I try and do is we're trying to go newer and newer. Generally, if I can, into cars that are still under manufacturer's warranty, just to reduce that headache. You know, I'd say it's probably the worst bit of the job. I mean, no matter how good you do the job, you're going to have some comebacks. We always try and deal with them really well, but I'd rather sort of minimize them. You know, and generally with the newer cars, there's less prep to do. You know, some stuff, you know, you're pretty much you're just balloting them and they're up for sale, you know, and then, like I say, once they've gone, you know, and they're not coming back. So we are trying to push.
What kind of cars would those be, Graham? Like more sports, prestige cars under manufacturer warranty?
So I'd say that the majority of the stuff that we go out to physically buy, because we end up with all sorts in part exchange, and I'm quite happy to go with anything. For me, like, a nice car is a nice car, whether that's a 10-year-old 100,000-mile car or a 1-year-old 10,000-mile car. You know, you can get good and bad in all them, and I'd rather buy based on the car than just, you know, some people are like, anything over 5 years, 50,000 miles, I won't deal in. But for me, you can get, you know, someone that's absolutely cherished a Toyota Yaris, you know, bought it from you, has been to dealer every year, and it could be a superb car, and I'll retail that. On the flip side, you could buy a 1-year-old 10,000-mile car that someone's just absolutely hammered, and you know, it's maybe something maybe you're not that happy about selling, you know.
Mm-hmm. So how many cars do you stock then, Graham?
So generally we sit with around 30 to 35 cars. Usually have about 25 advertised at one point, and then we've obviously got a handful coming in, whether they're on the way to us, whether they're body shop, MOTs, and then 5 that are sold waiting to go out.
And what about bikes? What's the split between cars and bikes?
So now it's very small. So we just less than a handful of bikes. Three or four. We do, like I say, we ran up to doing about 50 and did it as like a proper business. But when I looked at the numbers, the actual margins that we were making and stuff just
didn't seem worth it.
It wasn't worth it, but it just, you sort of spend a similar amount of time, you know, and I see that a little bit now, like I say, when we're trying to like push a little bit more the margins. Sometimes there's cars, and I'm probably a little bit bad for it, but there's some cars that I should just let go. You know, if it's not going to make me at least X amount of money, I should just let it go and buy something that will, because, you know, you spend the same amount of time with prep and all that sort of stuff on, regardless of the car, you know, so whether it's making me a small margin or a big margin, you know, and that's how we sort of operate it. So I'm trying to, like I say, just trying to push more towards that to increase those margins, be as efficient as possible, which I think in today's market, I think you possibly potentially have to be. You know, everyone has the difficulties, don't they, within business, and, you know, for a lot of people, I know it's sort of tough times now, but I'd say for us at the minute, we've had quite a good year. In fairness, we sort of set I never base mine on units. It's a financial target that we try and do every month.
Of course, yeah.
And generally, pretty much every month we've been in or around within a couple of thousand, you know, to the target that we wanted to do. We've not had any like mega record months, but we've not had any dire ones either. It's actually been fairly consistent. But
that's ideal, that though, isn't it?
Yeah, but for me, and chatting to other dealers, I personally feel like I'm doing more. Now more work in trying to source stock, more work in selling the stock to get that same end result, if that makes sense. So I feel like I'm working a lot harder for the same, you know, and I think the trade is becoming more and more difficult, you know, customers' expectations. You know, we do prep really well. but the cost of prep is dearer, and that all then. But it to some degree, it has to get passed on, doesn't it? And then when people are competing and some people are slow, they're willing to work for less margins, So,
do you get hands on with your mechanics or not? Or are you not more mechanically trained?
No, I mean, like I say, I'm a qualified engineer. So in the early days, I did do, and I'll still do bits and pieces. I still enjoy doing it. I don't have the time. So
yeah,
I do all the buying and all the selling. We don't have any salespeople. So people that deal with me. They only ever get me. Everyone gets my mobile number and that's it. So I mean, I sort of pride myself on that personal approach, and like I say, I quite enjoy the job. So it's that's how we sort of operate.
And are you sourcing stock? Is it auctions or is it like private, like Motorway Carwell? What do you try to do?
Honestly, I've not. In times gone by, I never had a big issue with auctions, and a lot of people don't like buying from auctions. I think sort of as time's gone on, I think auctions there seems to be worse stock there, and obviously with it now, especially with BCA where you can't go and visit. So I'll go to G3 sometimes, but generally stuff that we buy from auctions are ex-lease, so we're buying either 3-year-old or sub 3-year-old
got more of a
cars. Where that risk reward is much better placed. If I was buying sub $5,000 stuff, not a chance would I be buying it from BCA. Where you've got no comebacks.
There's plenty do though. Plenty do, Graham.
Yeah.
A lot.
But I think the thing with BCA is it's easy. So for a lot of people, they want naturally as human beings, we want the easy route. If someone said, "Oh, you can buy these cars really easy," and just they'll just turn up at your doorstep, then a lot of people will go for that. But then the offset is that risk. You see people buying stuff with essential reports, and it means nothing. That car could turn up with a knocking engine, and generally people that are selling the sub $5,000 stuff are maybe starting out or in the early years, and you can't afford to have that car come. As you get bigger, it's easier to bear that brunt. We've had the odd one, where we've had to put an engine in something, and it hurts, doesn't it?
It does it not?
But like I say, if you've only got 5 cars and one comes with a burnt engine, you could spend all them 5 margin just on fixing that one car. So I just don't understand why people risk it. They know the risks, but they still go for it. But I've been buying less and less and less from auction as time's gone on. I prefer buying private. I think even so, when people come and buy from us, I think they buy as much the person they're buying it from as the car that they're actually buying.
Without a doubt, yeah.
They come and see you, and if you've got a nice setup and you're well presented and you know your product and stuff, I feel the same when I go and buy stuff. Sometimes you just end up meeting a salesman. You say, "Well, what laptop do I want?" And they're like, "Oh, well, this one's on offer." And he's like, "But you want someone that knows, is really knowledgeable, and you feel like they're putting you in the correct product, and also that trust." People buying a 20-30 grand car. They want to think, is this guy selling me something kosher? Is he selling me something good? And I think that's a big part of. Google reviews and stuff obviously help now. So we don't massively push it, but we do try and get that, and we have got a really good Google presence, which quite a lot of customers do comment on when they come and pick a car up from us, and say we've read your reviews. And like I say, because my business is quite small, it is big, as such. So
personal,
yeah.
Do most of your cars fit in that? I take it, the types of cars you're selling, the 20, 30, 40 grand bracket.
So most of the stuff we go out and buy that I seem to do well with is the 20 to 30 grand stuff. 20 to 35 maybe. But like I say, your 2-3-year-old Audis, Mercedes, BMs, we predominantly do an awful lot of BMW for quite a few reasons, really. A few years ago, quite a number of years ago, but back in like the older shape ones, we were probably one of the first that started fitting like them performance kits and that sort of thing. So we're quite into fitting styling kits and Maxton kits and all that sort of stuff, but predominantly on BMWs. And people love them. The kits are not overly expensive, but they do transform them to some degree. And I think it turns a car from someone that looks at it and goes, "That's nice," in a bit more of a wow car. And I think when people are like, "Wow," they have to have it. It's not, rather than they're just like, "I need a car."
We're doing 4 today. I put the go ahead because we've got some been in stock maybe about 60 days and not really getting very good clicks, the 3 Series, and some of them are like the M Sport with the smaller wheels and that, so we're putting big wheels on and kits, and you can change the mirrors on them now with the diffusers and all that, and they're not a lot of money to transform the car, and then you can raise the price a little bit more, and obviously it gets them moving, we've got something going.
Like I say, predominantly BMWs, but we've done like Defenders with like urban kits on, and we've even done like we usually have a few vans in stock, because obviously we do the bikes, so generally we'll have a van in that we then use to move bikes around as such. And again, if they sell, I'd just go and buy another one. So we generally have 3 or 4 vans a year as such. And I sort of use it, it's sort of a business. We need it as a business, but I'm sort of profiteering from it at the same time. But yeah, kits.
A quick message from our sponsors, Dealerway. Attention DealerPod listeners, do you want a better, quicker, more profitable way of trading out of your part exchanges or overage stock? List your cars on Dealerway today and connect with over 2,000 vetted trade buyers actively looking for vehicles. No hidden fees, no hassle. Start your own custom auctions from your desk or the palm of your hand in our game-changing app. Or advertise your stock on quick, easy, buy it now listings to our eager buyers who are waiting to quickly acquire vehicles. What are you waiting for? Join Dealerway today at dealerway.co.uk and streamline your disposals.
Out of curiosity, what happens with going back to bikes? Just because it might sound like a daft question, I should maybe know the answer. If somebody wants a test drive in a car, and how does it work with a motorbike?
So we don't offer test drives here at all. I think you probably can get it as part of your insurance, but even when we had loads of bikes, we still never offered it, and no one was ever bothered. We never had anyone turn away because they couldn't.
And bikers, they don't really ask, do they not?
Like I say, I think there's less things to sort of feel on a bike, and less things that go wrong. So I think, and like I say, also because we did sell predominantly fairly new bikes, as a rule. I mean, for a number of years, I didn't sell a bike that wasn't within its manufacturer's warranty. So I think, in that case, people are not bothering. Well, if there is an issue, then the dealer will sort it. I mean, we have got sort of a big yard because we are like in an industrial estate, so we'd let people just ride up and down the yard so they can just like feel the brakes and get a feel of the position, but never anyone out on the road. But I mean, for us as a business as a whole, we predominantly distance selling.
Really?
Especially, yeah, and I think it's growing. I'd say 60%. I think now we probably sell where people have not visited of any description. They've just been delivered to the door. And the majority of people that do come here, the deal's already been done. We've looked at the part exchange, we've done the finance. Often that's all in place. They'll come and collect, and as long as the car's as described, they're driving off. I don't actually get that many people that will come, have a look at the car, and buy it. But
we're the same.
I don't mind it. I think that's just the way times have changed. But I do sort of miss a little bit selling someone a car, because when they come, they've already bought it. So you're not having that enjoyment of, oh yeah, it's really nice and we've done this and the other and let's go out for a drive, don't the exhaust sound great and all that sort of thing, you sort of lose a little bit of that. I mean, you get a little bit of it.
It's more just like a straight transaction now, isn't it?
Yeah, when people come, it's more just it's people just coming just to sort of agree that it is what you've said it is. I know a lot of dealers don't like doing distance selling, but generally the people that don't like doing distance selling, and have the problems is because they're not prepping right. If you're confident with what you're sending out, I mean, we've had that. I think we've had 2 come back, and we've delivered thousands now.
Do you deliver them yourselves, or just sub it out to a company? Transport?
A bit of both, just depending on how busy we are. So we have a third party company that charges us a set pence per mile. Well,
how much do you charge the customer per mile?
We're generally quite fair. So we offer a driven service, which is £1.20 a mile plus that. What the company that we use, they usually charge us a minimum. So if it's a really short journey, sometimes it costs us a little bit, but obviously if it's like 50 miles, it's not like it's going to cost us a fortune.
Like a minimum £100 or something.
It's usually a little bit more than that, but we do lose out a little bit when the short ones. But then on the long ones, they're generally pretty good for us. Like we've sent stuff to like Aberdeen, which is like 350 miles, and it's been, 275 plus that or whatever, and so at that point we make a bit of money. So throughout the year, it generally just breaks even. I don't really make anything out of the transport, but often if it sells the car, it sells the car, doesn't it? So like I say, I think a lot of people want the easy route, and the easier you can make getting them into that car, the better chance you have of got of selling it.
We've just started doing deliveries, and we've changed like we're marketing for it, and I don't think we've started doing it. And I think what's happening is people are looking on AutoTrader, and then they might be looking on the website, because we charge £2 a mile. But then it's like a hook to hook them in. So then they're on the car then, and they're going, oh, well, it's going to cost like, I don't know, £300 or £400 delivery. And then the salesman's saying, look, we can put you up in the hotel opposite. Why don't you just come and stay the night and have a nice time and blah, blah, blah. And that's then converting them to come to us. So it's like we're using it as a bit of a hook at first, but I think we might have delivered one since we launched it about a month ago, one car.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought you'd have done more than that.
Yeah, but we've had loads of people coming from way out the area and out the country, Manchester, Scotland, where they'll have a chat with the sales guys and they're saying, why don't you just, because they want them to come to us so you can have a chat and you have a personal conversation that, it's more enjoyable rather than just a transaction. So,
well, you want to sell them your products as well, though, don't you?
Well, you can do that over the phone as well. Just the same, and you're on the website, and you can send all the email links and videos and all that kind of stuff. But your conversion would probably be higher face to face.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what sort of cars you sell to, whether people are willing to travel to you or not. Because I think definitely for us, we get people that come far and wide, but because we generally sell sort of high spec stuff. A lot of your Audis, BMs, and Mercs now, you generally never find two the same. So people be like, I want a 3 Series. I definitely want one with a kit on it. I want it to have the Harman Kardon. I want sunroof, and all of a sudden you can really sort of shrink it. And then, a lot of time it can be, they'll shrink it down to 2 or 3 cars, and you can be a good chunk cheaper than what someone else is, especially if like London based. So cars are generally a little bit dearer down there, but it's a day out. If they save £1,000, then it's a decent day out, We try and encourage people to come, advert people to come, get to meet them and show them everything, and everyone's clear on exactly what they're getting. But I mean, we do sort of walk around videos as a matter of course. So when we do our photos, we do a video there and then. So we keep basically a video on file. So as soon as someone contacts us, AutoTrader and also eBay always like push us to put videos on the adverts, which we always they always want to do it their way, but we said, well, I'd rather, the reason I don't is because it gives someone we always put in the advertisement, get in touch via WhatsApp for a walk around video, and I put my mobile number on the advert, and so a lot of the time I'll just get pinged a WhatsApp saying, please can you send me the video of what. But people's interaction with WhatsApp, I find, is so much better than either telephone or email. Because if they're working through the day, they might just pop to the toilet and they're just like, oh, yeah, I love it. Can you send me a quote for finance? And you can just then ping them that over WhatsApp. I mean, we've had some deals where I've never even spoke to someone. I'm like, I don't know what they sound like.
Graham, we do 50, 55 deals a month, right? And I would say out of those deals, I think there would be 5 or 6 of them where we've not done most of the deal on WhatsApp. My business, the contact rate on WhatsApp since we switched to using it, because we use a lot of automation in the finance process that we do. The contact rate went through the roof when we introduced WhatsApp instead of trying to call everyone. It's just everyone's got it on their phone. Really, there's not many people that don't have WhatsApp. It's free. It's dead easy to use. It notifies you, pings you straight away, and just everyone's so so used to using it. And there's a lot of things that you can do now with the WhatsApp Business API around, like linking to your website and having bots on it and AI and automation and God knows what. And I'd implore any car dealer watching this, like if you're not using WhatsApp, you need to be using WhatsApp. Like
I think most people are nowadays, but I mean, I'll just bring back to AutoTrader a little bit as well, because it was something that we always asked, because we don't have the deal builder button, but on ours, there's a text button, but they won't allow you to have it direct to you. So you can have a text button, but either you have to have it via their chat service, or we've got ours with visitor chat. But because we're such a small business, it's stupid. And so why can't we just have a WhatsApp button instead of that text button, and it links straight to me? Because visitor chat are great, but all they do is collate the person's information. And sometimes we'll have people saying, oh, does this car definitely have sunroof? And they're like, oh, I don't know, I'll have to get a salesman to have a look. And, then we get their conversation through, and then we contact them at that point, which to me just don't make sense. It just if we could just, we've got one on our website, but on AutoTrader,
Data collect.
yeah, it'd be just easy for them to just click WhatsApp, which I think people would be more inclined to do than send an email. And I believe now, I've not tried it, but I've seen people saying that you actually have to, if someone sends a lead through AutoTrader, they actually have to log in and have to be like a registered user in order to send dealer a message.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously they're coming through now with because I got a couple through and I was like, why has someone inquired, but they hadn't even put an email or a mobile number? But it's because they've removed that now, apparently for GDPR, and you have to go into the portal then to fish it out, which it's there anyway. So I don't know who they're hiding the information from. They're giving you it regardless, you know.
Do you not have a WhatsApp button on your website then? I'm actually, you've got one in the bottom, haven't you, like a general one, but have you not got one on them per car? Because I noticed you've got a website from 67 Degrees, haven't
67 Degrees,
I'm sure I'll look at 67 Degrees will be able to sort you out a WhatsApp button for each car. So when someone clicks on a car, they'll WhatsApp you and it'll tell you what car the inquiry's for on WhatsApp straight away. So it's linked to the cars. Yeah,
well, we're fairly new to 67 Degrees, so we're sort of still in the stages of evolving the website and making it better, really.
How have you found them?
Yeah, pretty good, to be fair. I mean, we've just started doing some Facebook ads and that sort of thing. I mean, obviously, as everyone's sort of, I suppose, to some degree, turning their backs on AutoTrader, we've downgraded our package, but at the minute we've still...
What were you on, like, Graham?
So we were on the standard one, and we've just gone down to starter.
Starter, yeah. I did that. I tried that.
So, I mean, from what people say, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, I think we were actually on I've been down on a standard for quite a while now, but we dropped down from the one above it. I think it's enhanced. I think the one above it, but we dropped from that, and I never noticed any difference in fairness. But like I say, I think when you're selling stuff that's sometimes unique in terms of spec, you know, people are going to find you out anyway if that's really what they're after.
Do you pay much attention to the price markers, Graham? So if you had a car which was like full of spec, would you put it up at like fair price, or not even pay any attention to that? Would you go into high price, or?
I do to some degree, because I think people do look at it. But then obviously when I purchase vehicles as well, I think, because I do think to some degree they do control where them values are. But I suppose to some degree, I personally think the actual price markers to a certain extent are fairly accurate, because the biggest market of cars is on AutoTrader, and some cars are anomalies, because if you get something like, we had an S60 in, which was they did a Polestar version. But it was its own model in its own right. But there was only one on there. So it's the algorithm for that can't really particularly, I would put that on over what their guide was. But, you know, if you're selling a normal Focus, that there's loads of them. And I know people say, but if it's a one owner, full history mint car, you know, but I mean, in times gone by, I'd probably be more inclined to give people discounts on cars, whereas now I'm very much in the mentality that we don't discount at all. And I'll spend a bit more time. I spend a bit more of the time not arguing, but explaining why. You know, and I say generally because I always price stuff fairly. We're obviously a small business, so we do need to turn the cars around, and we do have a fairly good turnover of stock. So I always say, look, we're on the fair side. We're not the cheapest, but the cheapest ones are cheap for a reason. You know, we've redone all the wheels, and we've done them. You know, when we do wheels, we do them properly. For me, it's a real pet peeve. I hate curved wheels. But, you know, we'll take the tyres off, they get stripped right back to bare metal and recoated inside and out, so they're like brand new, you know, and I'm like, they'll last forever. It's not like we've just painted the edges, you know, we've serviced it, it's been through our workshop with fresh MOT, fresh service on everything we send out, you know, and I said, all these sort of things, you can quite easily spend 500, 600, 700 quid, and next guy who's selling it for 500 quid less, you know, you could end up spending that straight away, you know. A couple of tyres can be 400 quid, can't they, in a lot of cars, you know.
I think that's the hard part about AutoTrader, because it puts the price markers out there, and it's got, you know, when you click on it, it explains what the price markers are all about and how they come to where they get the figure from. But it doesn't like separate the people who are prepping the cars like you are, you know, and putting all the 12 months MOT with no advisories, fresh service. There's so much missing in there where it's harder to get across.
It does on the markers, but obviously you've got a text box to try and explain why yours is potentially dearer. Do you know what I mean? So we always put on, you know, we've redone all the wheels, and it's had 2 brand new tyres, and, you know, all the relevant information of how well we prep it and the warranty and everything that we, you know, I think there's always a nice amount of text, because you could put too much in and people get bored. Same with pictures. I mean, again, AutoTrader, I think, seem to like to tell you how to do business, you know, and they say you need to have 50 images on every car. I mean, no offense if you guys do, but for me, I just think that's too much. You know, I think people now with like the TikTok generation have got a short span of attention.
Definitely.
So, you know, we take them of all four corners, front and back, take all the interior pictures, and then you know, if there's anything like arm and card, and we'll take close-up pictures of that, each individual wheel. And then obviously we've got the walk-around video. I think, you know, some people, where they're taking them on a turntable and they're taking every single angle as it sort of juts around like that, I think it's almost overkill, because pictures only show a certain amount to a degree anyway. Do you know what I mean? They're not showing every little scratch, and you're always going to photograph it in the nicest way you possibly can. We've got a bit of the photo bit, and I think for a lot of people now, I mean, some people have got some amazing photo bays now. You know, I've probably got a little bit of photo bay envy. I think ours probably needs a bit of an update and to be made even more special, because that's how people, that initial impression of that car is that first picture, isn't it? You know.
Well, that's your showroom now, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially when people don't see it. I mean, you know,
especially when you're delivering that many cars. Yeah.
We are in the best area in fairness. And it's not the most tidy of sites, because there's all sorts of different businesses down here, from welders and all sorts, you know. So, I mean, ultimately, we would like to move to have maybe a slightly nicer outlook, and probably just not to have neighbours. You know, and they can keep it.
You sound like my missus.
Yeah. You can keep it nice and tidy, and keep it as you want. Well, you don't know who moves in next to you. Do you know what I mean? You know, you can keep your, you know, even at home, you know, you can keep your house lovely and have a beautiful front garden. If next door want to chuck a bed in front garden, then do you know what I mean? It makes it look rough, doesn't it? You know, so
obviously you've got the bikes and the cars. Do you find that the you know, when you have dips in sales in cars, do you find the bikes tend to follow suit, or do they have different highs and lows from sales point of view?
Like I said, bikes are very, very seasonal. But I same with like cars, where people I think say like, oh, you won't sell a convertible in December, and you know, you better sell in 4x4s. But I think sometimes people get this irrational sort of knowledge that they're obviously cheaper at that time of year because no one wants them. So we do sell Superbikes at this time of year, which is odd, because they're not even going to ride it. You know, they know they're going to buy it, and you know, I've got a lad on this M1000 we've got now, but he's not going to go out and ride it in November, is he? You know, so but they obviously still want it.
Graham, do you have do you use a DMS system?
No, we've got an online diary, which is sort of a fairly basic online diary, which just captures people's data, and obviously we use it for invoicing and stuff. But no, I don't use a proper. Like I say, because we're quite small, a lot of these things that people offer us, which sound great, and I'm sure do save a lot of people time. But for us, the cost and time reward is very minimal, because we are so small. You know, it's
30, 40 cars around you still. You take some managing though. You know, like I wouldn't remember where I put all them cars. Yeah. How do you work it? How does that work if you don't have one?
In terms of just like where we know where stuff is in prep and that sort of thing.
But you're just like that. I mean, me personally, I'm like a very systems-driven person. You know, I've got bloody systems for systems. Me, it's all obviously on computer and in the cloud and what have you. And I just, you seeing that sort of like threw me. It's like, oh, how would I do this? How would I do that? Maybe I'm the one in the wrong. To be fair, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Well, you'll probably laugh, but I mean, I like technology for some things, but then other things I don't. So like, I couldn't read a book on a Kindle. Like I want to read a book because I want to read a book.
I'm with you there.
We have on my desk is basically an A4 pad which has all the cars that have outstanding work on them, and literally the car, and then there's literally when everyone comes in the morning, because there's only 4 of us, everyone comes in the morning. The top bit is for us lot. There's a bottom one for the mechanic, and then down the side we've got wheels, because we have a wheel guy that comes every week. We've got a dent guy that comes every week, and we've got a body shop. And anything that goes is just written on there, and once they're done, they get crossed out. So we'll just, a car comes in, it's like it wants 3 wheels, it wants a dent guy, it wants MOT service, and I write it out, and once they're done, they just get crossed off, and that's it.
That sounds like my worst nightmare. I couldn't do that. Like
he'd still be logging in the computer. He'd be logging in, getting his passwords, finding the screen where you have to update, and you'd already done it, and you'd been away cracking on.
No, right, Graham, you've got 30 odd cars. How do you store your keys?
In a safe.
Right. Is there any like sort of rhyme or reason in how you do it? Do they have a number in the window, or?
No, because we're split out over 4 units. Again, you'll probably laugh, but for each unit we have a lunch box, And for each of them units, the cars go in a lunchbox, and then they just have a key tag on with the name and details.
So you don't need to overcomplicate it.
This is a world exclusive, right? Scott has got 300 cars plus in stock.
Yeah.
And he has them in roses tins.
Yeah. Celebrations tubs, they're good.
And then the woman at Key Tracker at AM Live, how do you store how many cars you got? 300. How do you store them? In a tub?
I said I used to use Chinese takeaway containers, but then as the business grew, I had to get bigger tubs.
Yeah. But like I say, because we're split out over 4 units, essentially we'll have, I mean, especially the showroom unit, a lot of them cars just don't get, on a daily basis, don't get moved around. Once they're in here, they're in here. We'll pull a couple out to do for us.
And through prep, you'll go through your different tubs. So they'll go into paint tub, then they'll go into valet tub. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Really?
Our little system's amazing. Yeah, and this lady should try to sell a key cabinet, and it was about 15 grand.
No, it was 12.5 grand.
And you had little pegs and all that, and I was like, we don't need all that. Just get the.
To be fair, it looked mega mind. It
did look good, like
titanium. It was huge with glass front, and it looked mint. But 12.5 grand for keys.
You get a crowbar behind that and be straight off the wall, and then you'd be away during the night with that. My safe, what they go into, it's like one of these big. It's like over a bank. And it's like huge. You couldn't even still saw the hinges off, and then they all go on like we've got boards, Martin, and little hooks. Yeah. And then you put all the boards go in the safe, and then we use the tubs as well. And it's really good.
Like I say, I think to some degree there's certain things I just don't think you need to spend money on. You know,
I agree.
Like I say, trying to be as efficient as possible and trying to keep your costs low. And I learned a long time ago. People always look at how can I make more money, but you can actually make more money by reducing your costs, in the same way. So some stuff I'll trial, and I mean we get offered all sorts of stuff, and sometimes I just think I don't really need that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it might make it a little bit better, but is it worth £100 a month? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? And so we just don't bother. But like I say, I like to touch, see, and feel, and like I say, just writing in a book for us works. Everyone can see it. They come in on a day. Everyone has got the ability just to scribble it out, and we're all here anyway, so it's not like. They're in on another site and put it on the system to say this car's been finished paint. And I was to say, because we are small, we're all really close just to talk to on a daily basis, and I quite like that as well. We as a workforce, we're like a little family. We go out every month.
Nice.
And we go out every month and do something. Like we're all friends outside of work, and we all genuinely care about each other. Which is a nice sort of place to be, I mean,
the staff you've got working for you, have they been with you, I take it, for a long time as well then?
Yeah, so majority of them have. Valeters there's a bit more of a turnover with valeters. But yeah, the mechanic, he's been over 10 years and he's a really good friend of mine. But yeah, I look after them really well, and on the flip side, they look after me really well, and I think that's the way it is. I mean, we do really odd things at work, really, so that people may or may not disagree with, but because we're quite small, like I don't, everyone gets full sick pay. If they need to go to the doctors, they can just go. I don't doc.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah,
I don't. They can have as many holidays as they want. I don't even really take any massive notice. Do you know what I mean? If you need it off, or you've got something to do, or your missus is ill, or whatever. People need that, do you know what I mean? Money's not the be all and end all, is it? And the flip side is, like I say, if you're really right with them times where customers arrive late and you just stay back half an hour and watch this, there's never a conversation. It's just, of course I will, mate,
That's exactly what you want. That's how we've got it really. I mean, I'm a bit more strict with the holidays. Like otherwise, I think they would really take the mickey. But yeah, other than like, don't get us wrong, I'm not strict in the way that I would stop people taking the holidays. But like, we'll stick to a regiment. You get 28 days a year, but then if on top of that, if someone says, "Oh, I need to go to the doctor's at 11 o'clock," I know, but I'll just go and get it. I need to leave early because I've got to pick the kids up.
To be honest, you'd be surprised about the holiday thing though, because they reckon there's a psychology behind it. Because if you offer people to have as many holidays as they want, most of my staff don't use all their holidays.
My staff would. I would.
Because people then think they're taking a mickey. Same with if people are off sick and they're not getting paid, and they're having a non-sick day, but they're using it as a sick day, they feel bad sat home if they're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So if they are getting paid, they will get paid anyway. It don't matter. So I think there is a bit of psychology behind it. As well as
it's like a free bar. You think you'd be pissed every day, but you don't actually probably get a little bit. But then, do you know what I mean?
Cadbury's did it, didn't they, in the factory?
Yeah, just so they can eat as much chocolate as they want.
Yeah, eat as much as you want because you just get sick of it.
Yeah.
So it actually stopped them from eating it.
My dad used to say his line was, he says, "I know you'll steal from us, but don't take the piss," which I thought was a bit weird.
That's definitely weird. Like,
That was in like 70s and 80s when he had his garages years ago, and he said, "Yeah, I know you'll rob from us, but just don't take the piss." And I thought it was a bit strange. I've never went with that one.
oh, that's a funny one. Like,
Yeah, it was his way of saying, "I'm not daft. I know you're going to steal, but just
Scott, did you steal off your dad?
Did I steal off him? Just his love."
God.
Yeah, does he listen to the podcast?
He's long gone. Now we never seen eye to eye. I never spoke to him for about 8 years before he died, and I've never shed a tear. We just like we weren't on the same page. So yeah, no, so I never stole from him, anything like that. No.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how do you guys see the motor trade going in the next sort of 5 to 10 years? Because from my opinion now, because I would say, like I say, I'm quite an enthusiast and I enjoy the things that I sell. So I think, if we do keep going down this road of being pushed into electric cars, I don't know whether you guys have, but we've sold some electric cars, some Teslas and stuff like that. And I don't mind it, but I don't get excited by it. And I just don't know if I'll have the same passion and love for the job if all of a sudden I'm selling loads of Teslas.
I don't personally think that electric cars are going to be as big a thing as what they thought they were going to be 5 years ago.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I think they're going to be bigger.
Do you?
No.
No.
I think they've got a place.
They'll get rammed down your throat.
Yeah. I think certain places, like if you're centre London, yeah, it works well. And like we go to Centre Parks a bit, and the bands that go around, because obviously you're in a nice little forest, you don't want a diesel band chugging around. So it's actually quite nice. So I think they've got a place, but I think it'll just be part of what essentially they're doing. I personally think they should push a bit more with these synthetic fuels, because
Super fuels, yeah.
Nothing really ultimately changes, and that technology now does work, and the cars put out like half the emissions or so, something like that, with these new synthetic fuels, which will probably end up getting even better. It might drop down to 30% or something like that.
Yeah,
the main issue is it's £5 a litre. And it's all well and good people saying, I want to save the planet. And you go, oh, well, we can do, but it's going to cost you £5 a litre when you fully I don't love it that much. But if they can get the cost of that down, then maybe that's the thing, and obviously hydrogen. Whether they,
I was just going to mention hydrogen.
Whether they nail the hydrogen thing. I think if they do nail it, 100% that'll be the future.
Toyota or Honda already have.
Yeah, but I think in concept of the actual workings of it, it's the containment of hydrogen. I think that they're struggling with.
Yeah.
And how that would then work on a larger scale. So, the actual technology and stuff.
Obviously, we've got the budget coming up next week or the week after. And if she does what she says or what the rumours are around electric cars, so 3 pence per mile tax is going to go onto electric cars on that.
How are they going to police that, like, Martin? Has anything come out wrong?
I don't know. I've not looked at. I mean, obviously, I've got one, but to be fair, you and I both know I work and live a mile away from home, so even if it's 3 pence a mile, it's not really going to affect me that much. But it's going to have a massive knock-on effect of used car prices within electric cars, because I can't see people. But again, like, how are you going to manage it? Is it going to be MOT to MOT? Mileage blockers will go through the roof.
Yeah, I can see why they're doing it, because obviously they're going to lose out on the fuel revenue, so they're going to have to do something. But I think the main problem is at the minute they're still on that road of trying to get people into electric cars.
Yeah.
And people are not uptaking on electric cars. And to be honest, the biggest thing now for electric cars is because I think originally people were a bit like, I don't know about charging it and all that sort of thing, and the thoughts behind that. But I think now it's actually, if I buy an electric car, the price is going to go boom, like that. And that's putting people off even more. So if they put this, I mean, obviously they started charging people to tax them, didn't they? Because they used to be free. Which actually, to be fair, the odd time when we had Teslas in here, I'd just tax them and then I could just use that car to drive around in, rather than play it up or taxing something for a period of time. But then putting this charge on again, like you say, is going to make the prices of them drop even further, which is going to make people want them even less. I mean, the only people I know that really have electric cars, besides the odd people, is because of the business things that they get as part of it and the write-off for tax. And even then, some of my mates that have had, say, a 420D as a company car, and now they've got a Tesla, they're like, well, I save £400 a month in company car tax. So, but if I didn't, I won't bother.
But that's a big thing, though. It's a big thing.
Yeah, but for companies, but then for you, how many people do you know that on a personal level that don't have a business, that are just having them themselves, do you know, that have an electric car? And I don't know.
My wife's actually got one, to be fair, and she loves that Tesla. She does it, and I must admit, I enjoy driving that Tesla. It's like a little go kart. It's
yeah,
fun.
I don't mind driving them, and I think day to day, I don't have an issue with them. And I think if you've got a charger at home, I have used them because we've had them in stock, and then I wanted to use them because I wanted to understand them myself. Or when we come to sell them. And, I say to most people, actually, because you're charging at home, you wake up every day with 250, 260 miles.
That's right.
So
yeah.
that range anxiety that a lot of people think they're going to think about often isn't. I mean, I use one for 6 months and I only ever charge away from home twice. But the other problem now is that if you do charge away from home, it's dearer than driving a normal car.
Oh, it is. It's crackers.
So,
crazy.
But on the offset, I do say to people, if you are happy to have a second-hand electric car, if you buy an iX3, which is exactly the same as a normal X3, the 20 grand, the equivalent diesel version is 30. So if you're happy to have electric, you actually can get a really cheap car now.
Plus you look at all the tariffs.
Yeah, but who wants to buy a new one at 80? Do you know what I mean? Knowing that in 3 years' time it's going to be worth 20, and that's the problem.
I think those ID3s, are they like mid 40 grand, like 43 grand for one of those ID3 things, and you get a 3-year-old one for like 15 grand, 16 grand. So people, they're not taking the depreciation into consideration, but although they get the saving on the fuel.
Yeah, but to be fair, if you look at mine though, mine was an X demo, a year old. It was 60 grand brand new. Paid 36 for it when it was a year old. I've had it 14 months now. I think cap on it is something like 26 grand. But to be fair, it costs us £2 to charge it fully. But then even if I was a high user of electric, all you do is Octopus do this
overnight tariff,
£30 and charge as much as you want.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, if you could say to a customer who uses a diesel car, go, no, you can drive it as much as you want, and it's going to cost you 30 quid to fill it up every month.
30 quid? I've never heard them.
30 quid.
Have they just announced that? Like,
no, it's been going.
Because we use Octopus at home for the same reason, but it's on like the tariff that they do where
you're on the 7 pence a kilowatt.
7 pence.
Yeah, but you can charge it any time of the day through the smart charger, and it's 30 quid a month. Obviously, I don't use it enough to warrant that tariff, but it's there.
I charge mine at work on the panels on the roof, so I don't. On the app, it's there's no charge goes to charge actually electric, but there's no cost against it.
Yeah. I think the whole CO2 thing though is a really bizarre thing because although I know they say that an electric car can save, but actually our biggest cause of CO2 now is manufacturing more goods. That's the biggest cause of CO2. So actually pushing people into cars, and I understand over time, naturally someone's old, decrepit 20-year-old diesel car will end up going to the scrapyard, and then maybe they'll get an electric car. But forcing people to get rid of perfectly good cars to buy an electric one, to me, just seems
counterproductive.
Total nonsense.
But wasn't the CO2 of a battery made in Japan by the time it travelled halfway around the world? The CO2 was absolutely astronomical because of the way everything it went in to get the battery done.
But we haven't really had any issues, but I know that we use a body shop. There's a body shop that's next door to us, but they've had loads of problems, and we've got a really good relationship with our local BMW, and they've got loads of problems with electric cars. And the problem is when they get damaged, even the main dealers are not knowing what to do with them. They're BMW at the minute, they've got at least half a dozen electric cars sat on skates that they can't move and don't know what to do with. And they're having tech sent from Germany, and some cars now. So the garage next door, they'd had one where someone had just ground it out, and they're a bit like almost like an RC car where they've got like a plastic undertray that holds the batteries along the floor, and it cracked the undertray. But to replace the undertray, the batteries have got to be removed, and they said for it to be done, it has to go back to the factory. And at that point, they just wrote it off, just for a small crack in the undertray. But I think that's the other issue. But I also think there's not really any independents doing electrical car problems as such. And I think if someone actually nails that and does it, they'll probably end, because I think obviously you end up having to go back to main dealers. But, if you got someone that was like an EV expert in terms of mechanical repairs, not necessarily in the sales, but I think they'll actually do really well, potentially, if we do get pushed more and more towards these electric cars,
Definitely. Graham, listen, time's running out for us. I've actually got an appointment shortly, so I'm going to have to end it there. But before we go, have you got any advice for any would-be motor dealers maybe who's watching the pod? Any bits of wisdom you could leave?
Not really, no. So I suppose for everyone, everyone's always got a different journey, and I think my journey's probably been different to most. Like I say, for me, it's for the love of the job. You spend a lot of time at work, and if you don't love selling cars, it's probably not the job for you, because there's probably other things that I could have done with my knowledge and and intellect, I suppose, to some degree, to do something else that possibly I could have made at least the same money or more money from. But for me, and I say people, as a petrol head, this job has given me an unbelievable array of cars, bikes, all sorts of stuff. So I think that if people are starting up and they're doing it, then they need to be doing it for the right reasons, But like I say, whether that changes when it goes electric or not, remains to be seen, I guess. And obviously keeping costs low if you're starting out,
Good stuff. Great stuff. Right, everyone. Graham, thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Really interesting speaking to you, and it seems like you've got a nice little business going there. And good luck to you. Long may it continue, mate. But for everyone else that you've stuck around, thanks for sticking around, Wolfwood. Make sure you like the episode, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. See you guys.
Thank you.
See you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.